I'd, I'd like to welcome you all to the first lecture of Marine Biology, OCB. So we'll start off with scientific inquiry. You can see Bill Nye, a contemporary of most science classes start off with the scientific method. The scientific method is a sequential way used to answer. This slide shows you how your powers of observation, which may be the most important step. Hypotheses are statements that explain observations. We test them with the experiment. Experiments, you have a control group, which is lacking what you're testing. It forms the baseline. Observing is your first aspect of collecting data. Your conclusions give you a new model, allow you to infer on. The next topic, so to speak, is the natural history of the ocean. We'll start off approximately 14 billion years ago, 13.5, 13. So stars are born in these gas clouds, generally hydrogen, called nebula. They collapse. We call that the nebular hypothesis. So our early Earth, condensation, collision, accretion. So the early Earth, no oxygen in the atmosphere. We can tell that there was no evidence. So our early atmosphere, you can see unknown in the beginning as we were cooling, condensing. So oceans outgassed, some probably from comets, but most of it outgassing. The rain falls, boils, falls, Earth stabilizes in that first 3/4. We're sweeping out our orbit, so we have a lot of meteorite impacts. The moon without early life was microscope, most likely intertidal zone, because we didn't have that oxygen. There's modern stromatolites. You can see how they're layered with oxidation. That's a reaction with oxygen. So our first oxygen showing up. Now we're going to skip to the ocean basins. Let's just get a handle. We'll start with the coast. That's what we're going to do. The bulk of our studying is the coast, west coast of Florida. So coast is the part of the land adjoining the ocean. It's dynamic, which means it's always changing. Sea level currently is rising. Sea level's rising. The glaciers melted about 18. So sea level rises. The first image was 18,000 years ago. That's our continental margin. We live on a depositional coast. Depositional coast is typified by barrier islands. You can see a little barrier. This ocean floor is covered with sediments. A picture right there is of, so sediments are loose, some organic. Organics are called oozes. So we have Terrigenous, land-based, Biogenous. That's our plankton, that when they die, they're skeletal. So there's some images of Terrigenous, weathering and erosion, glaciers. Biogenous sediment is the plankton that falls. It literally rains, in quotation marks, down. Looking at the waves and the tides, some physical aspects of the marine environment. Waves are energy transfer. So they're going across the surface. The crest is the high point of the wave, and the trough is the low point. The amplitude is how high that crest or how low that trough is. The wavelength is the difference between two successive waves. So it's the length of one. The frequency is how many waves per second pass by. So a higher frequency or a lower frequency. And we're discussing this because of this image here. You can see wind waves. Wind waves are the most common. It's what we deal with every day. So waves are caused by the wind, gravity, tides between the sun and the moon, and waves break when they reach half of their wavelength. So waves are undisturbed. We call the breaking of a wave in area shoaling. So waves break or shoal in that surf zone. Half a wave, storm surge. Storm surges are short-lived. Speaking of tides, there's Mont Saint-Michel in France, and that is an extreme example of a high tide, low tide. There's two tidal bulges on Earth at all times. One's caused by the moon's gravity, so semi-diurnal and diurnal. Here in our area, we have a mixed, which means most. So this map shows you where on Earth each tidal cycle occurs. There's just a local semi-diurnal mixed tidal frequency taken from. This shows you your spring and neap. Very important in the marine environment. When you have a salt marsh, so it's all lunar phase. You can see when the neap tide, you're at a quarter phase. So temperature changes every day. There's some tide pools. High tide, new water comes in. So it changes the chemistry as well. Organisms, as I said, reproduce on the tidal cycle. So you have a picture of tides bringing the nutrients into and out of their ecosystems. Your salt marshes, your tidal pools, all. And again, here we have reproduction occurring on the tides. Ocean currents are another factor of the ocean. That image right there shows the Gulf Stream and so the trade winds and the westerlies are what steer our surface currents. Surface currents, so they transfer heat, influence weather and climate, distribute nutrients, and affect animal migration. They form circular gyres in each ocean. You do need to know the North Atlantic gyre and the loop current that runs through the Gulf. So what you have is the Gulf. So there's the worldwide geostrophic currents. You can see our longshore currents. Longshore currents, we mentioned before, your prevailing winds push prevailing waves. Rip currents are the return of that water back out to sea. They can be very violent during storms. Upwelling, very important, ecologically nutrient rich, is where bottom water, which is nutrient, downwelling, there's downwelling, that chokes off ecosystems. There's our loop current, that's the current in the Gulf of Mexico. So that's the loop current.